always be aware where your energy is too, because if something is welling up in you, then there's something going on there, and it's hard sometimes when you're in a session and you say, oh shit, I got something to clear now, and I'm in the middle of this session and I know I'm affecting the other person by my energy, but I may have to just stop for a minute and do something, clear myself for something. I think noticing that some people aren't going to get a physical reaction. Like if you're reacting to something, then you feel something physically. That's really good. Sometimes people don't. They don't even know it. Like if I've got that 3 weakness, I gave you that example last week, right? If I got a 3 weakness, what the hell? How's that going to manifest physically? Probably not, right? You probably not know that. But if you're pushing that out to the other person, you say, well, you got a 3 weakness. Oh, gee, I'm making it worse because you check me, right? Real quick, 1 second. Most likely, if you have a sensation, you got to pause for a minute and dig into your own stuff for a minute and see what you can clear, silently, obviously. But I don't think there's any magic to that. I think many times, why would that even happen in your universe? You actually got the client that's telling you that you have something to clear. They're attracted to that. It wasn't like just by accident. Nothing's accident. Yeah, you have some, you're so well cleared, but you have 40 other things that you just haven't touched. You've been doing this a dozen years. And you're going to attract those clients to poke at those, they're poking the stick at those things for you. And good for, and think of it that way. It's kind of they're helping you in a certain sense. And that's a good way to look at it. Oh, thank you. Just, you're not going to tell them that, but thank you. That's a blind spot that if you hadn't had that symptom or that problem, I never would have known to look for it myself. So it's just, so if you have an extreme that, neutrality or an extreme that you're trying to make even, you have any, trillions of experiences of thoughts, so let's say something goes weak and you're trying to make it even. So you're actually just trying to supply the energy for the things that are weak to go up to where the other stuff that's strong that does need to be strengthened. You don't have to think an absolute number up here, right? You're just trying to make it a, kind of a flat 2x4 at the top there. They're all the same energy. So at any given time, what's going to manifest? If they're all the same energy and there are trillions of them, I don't know, I'm just going to close my eyes and pick one. Nothing's sticking up. But if you have a weakness, that guy's going to be sticking up because that's where all your energy is, right? So all the other stuff is down here somewhere in the basement because you haven't brought that energy up to the thing that you're focusing on that's manifesting that awful thing that you have. So once you find the weakness, you're just trying to bring it up to even. Right now, this is the only thing that's manifesting because that's where all your energy is. The basis of the whole thing is when you're finding a weakness, because people will always say it's this, the thing that's sticking up. That's where all your manifestation is, failure. Your energy's there. By saying your energy's there, it means it's strong. Look at how high it is. That's not it. Failure's not it. It's strong. But oh, by the way, all your energy is there, so that's what manifests. That's not good. If you take success over here and you bring it up to the same level, then what do you get? And then all the points in between, what do you get? You get this thing, I close my eyes. Okay, I'm going to pick one of these things. Which one's standing up? It's like someone's giving you a deck of cards. I don't know. Let me pick one. Oh, crap. I had a success. Of course, because the energy's even enough. I call it what's in your grab bag, right? There's an article on the website, what's in your grab bag. When you make things neutral, you go from having one thing in your grab bag to having trillions of things in your grab bag, and you're going in there and you're doing this. If you have one thing on there, you're going to grab the same one out. Same experience, right? Failure. You don't know that. You think you're trying to be successful, but internally and subconsciously and unconsciously, you're really not supplying any energy for success at all. You say you are. You can talk all you want. But where's your energy? It's all over here on the failure. It's a grab bag, yeah. The next experience, like I say, if you've had the neck praying, if you've had that for that long, I mean, you're obviously pulling one thing out of the grab bag over and over again because you've only put one thing in the grab bag. Of course you say, I don't want that. But what's your internal energy saying? What if that energy is coming from a karma from an ancestor? You can say whatever you want. You haven't hit that button to clear that so that things do this. And then all of a sudden you get the possibility. You don't have a guarantee, but you have the possibility of all these other experiences there. And that's what it is. And that's really what neutrality is. We strengthen something. we're still making things even, and even is neutrality, right? It's all the same energy. That's neutrality. And so at the same time we're teaching YUEN method, we're also neutralizing things. And by neutralizing, it doesn't mean taking it away. It means kind of evening things out. If something's like that, you even it out. I don't know what's going to happen next. I really don't. I know the more possibilities of something changing are more likely now, but it's still probability. It's bubbling probability, but they're all about the same. So that's the way I look at it. And that's the strength of this method, because you can check the energy, you can change the energy and all that. And most methods have no notion of being able to go back and detect something and check it later. You know, we use the energy, we use it, it's really a Swiss Army knife, because we use it 4 different ways, right? We're finding a weakness, we're strengthening it, we're able to know what it is and what it isn't. Finding a weakness, I wrote another article about that I haven't published yet. It's process of elimination. Finding a weakness is process of elimination. Think about it. We don't really think about it that way. We think we're searching for something. No, what you're doing is you're taking a bag of stuff and you're saying, it's not that, it's not that, it's not that, it's not that. The weakness comes up, oh, it's that, because you threw everything, you're going process of elimination. Now, logical thinking person, left brain guy says, that's a dumb way to do anything. Process of elimination, that's stupid. That's like giving you a deck of cards and saying, find the ace. What do? You go, no, find the ace. That's the absolute most powerful thing you could do is process of elimination. And that's exactly what YUEN method is. It's light, so lightning fast, because you use insight. We're not going through that deck. We're saying, show me it. Okay, ace. But it's the same thing. We're taking everything, those other 51 cards, and we're throwing them away so fast that you don't even think about it. You're throwing it away so fast. Right? So that's what it is. It's process of elimination, energetic process of elimination. That's just so, it's so striking that that could be better than any other way of doing it. But it is. And people don't believe that. They'll just dismiss it and they'll go do some other modality. It's their loss. This is the best way to do it. And convincing people when you teach them that that's the best way to do it, it's hard. You know, again, good way to look at it. I do have that article written but unpublished, but there's a Facebook post that has process of elimination in it on the Now Energetics Facebook page. If you look down through it and search for process of elimination, you'll find the article I wrote. And I basically took that article and made it into a blog post. But if you want to just read it ahead of time, just go to Facebook. You have to put this stuff in your field. And I think while I was doing the healer shares and the, you know, I would go to 4 or 5 places every month, not just my own healer share, but I would get in, I would ask around. It took me years to find the Reiki people and the shares that would allow you in there. What are you doing? Well, I'm doing this. Well, we don't do that. You know, you get 90% of the time you get a no. Can I come work? You know, I'm not trying to steal clients from you. I hate to tell them, but it's like, I've got another job. Believe me, I don't need to steal clients from you. If anything, you can keep all your clients. I don't want them. But just for practice, you know, just for dealing with all different types of people with all different types of things to bring to you, right? That's what you want to do. You want to be able to do these 2 to 5 minute things, because a session is really a bunch of 2 to 5 minute things, maybe 1 to 2 minute things, really. But it gives you that background. And I had an email one at one time, and don't do this. Like, don't do what I do. The problem with email is I like to write complete sentences and big long things, because I'm going to tell people what I was thinking at the time and everything. And it's a teaching email, right, as well. And I started doing that for about a month or 2, and I said, what the hell am I doing this for? It's like I'm spending an hour writing an email. It's not a good idea. I mean, ideally, you know, we can do it. We can do it remotely and not even tell them. But then when you start writing an email, then they reply back, and then you go into this thread, and it's not good. So I stopped doing that. I thought I was going to just do that for a while and charge $50 for an email, but I found that I was spending so much more time, because it's never just one issue. I would do for one issue in an email, right? It's never one issue. So it's just never one issue. So I did say I learned the hard way. I was trying to put myself out there, because like I said, I don't have to make a living at this. So if I help people, that's fine. But it, you know, it just took it ended up being a time sink. So these 1 or 2 minute things, if someone texts you and doesn't expect a long conversation, yeah, it strengthens some for them, sure. And that's what I do too. My family might do that sometime too, that something's going on and they'll send me something. Because I don't like scan people all day long. I don't believe in being a busybody. I really don't. I think people that get into this work for the wrong reasons, they're trying to fix the world. They got their own train wreck problems and they're trying to fix the world. I didn't come to this as a train wreck. I was 45 when I started this, 40, 45. I was doing other stuff too with electro devices and stuff, but I didn't come to this as some wounded healer. I had a good life. I was an athlete. It's not like I had some trauma from my childhood or something. I didn't have any of that crap that people talk about when it comes. Well, I have this story, I got this narrative. It's like, I don't have a narrative. I'm just some guy from Western Massachusetts, grew up and picked tobacco. Nothing special about me. So, and Yuen kind of has that story too. It's like, okay, I did this Kung Fu thing, but I was just some average guy. In his early videos, he literally says that. He's looking down. He's so humble. It's like, I'm just some average person. There's nothing special about me. And that's, in some ways that's helped me a lot. I got, it's not like I had no issues. I had things to clear and stuff like that, but most of the traumatic stuff wasn't from this lifetime for sure. So that helps. I watched the Kung Fu series. So I thought there was so much, I was pulled into it because I'm Asian as well. And I think they did it so well. And there was so much wisdom. And you could never even think to have a show like that today. Not even close. You could never even have a show like that today. When I was doing stuff with electro devices and things like that, one of the guys I was working with at that time said, there's this guy that does stuff over the phone, and he used to be the Kung Fu guy. He's in the Kung Fu series. And I said, well, ooh, because you never saw Cam unless you were looking for him. It was David Carradine. He fought some guy, beat the crap out of him. Well, that just happened to be Cam Yuen, and then the next week Cam Yuen was a different guy with hair, and he'd play 5 different roles or something. He was the tech advisor, but he was doing stuff there. But so that's what drew me to it. It's like, oh, so it's not like I really connected with the fact that he was in that series, that he was Chinese, and as soon as I took his first class, I just knew the Asian philosophy is similar, and so I connected with him right away. And I couldn't understand these people that didn't like him and everything. It's like, I got his humor and everything. It's like, well, that's the way we are, I'm sorry. It's, so yeah, there was that connection really. And so that's my story. And I don't think I put it in the bio that much, but I feel bad for the people under 40 years old that would not see that series today unless they look for it. And maybe they would like it and maybe they wouldn't, but when you had 3 channels back then, that was the gas. When Kung Fu came on, everybody was watching it, and it was a surprise hit. I think this is a good topic, actually. We talk about psychic energy. Well, this indoctrination energy becomes a psychic energy, right? And that becomes their energy. So it creates a field, like a morphic field of that. So we need to clear those things. And part of what we did when COVID came out, and Yuen had said that it was mostly psychic energy. You're not going to get any of this stuff. It's psychic. If you get a cough or something, you're more likely that you're caught it because you're absorbing the psychic energy from other people that are fearful of it. So what I did with a group that I was in, and this is again, everyone had to go into Zoom instead of going to physical. I was starting to get back into going to healer shares. I said, well, I do this thing called YUEN Method. Of course, I'm the oddball there. Everyone does Reiki, so that's fine. And I said, the psychic energy is really, strong with all this. This was just before it started closing down things. It was like a month before it started closing down. And the way I thought of it was, and Yuen didn't talk about this much, but you have, like when you're on LinkedIn, right? A person, they call it a 2nd level contact, 3rd level contact, 4th level contact, right? So that's how I was clearing psychic energy. So everybody that was in the room, you go to the first level of influence, I guess is what the term, the term, so to speak, is. But you go to their first level of influence. Well, what is that? Every person they know, every person they're related to. Well, that might be 5,000 people right there, just one person. And then you move out to the 2nd level. Well, how many people? By the time you get to the 3rd level, you're probably up to 100 million to 1 billion people. It's hard. You don't get, it hurts. You're trying to clear that. You realize you get a little stuck point there. So you're trying to clear as many people as you can in the levels of influence. And if you get up to 3, you're doing pretty well. And you may want to do that in your family too, and everybody you know. You just think of it and you're just clearing everybody because they're all connected to each other. Who are the people most likely they're going to get the psychic energy first? Not always the case, right? If there's so much of it, you're getting it everywhere, but certainly from the family. So you want to push out from there and go out as many levels of influence as you can and get as far as you can. You're not going to get all the way out to 7.2 billion people, but hell, you do all your town, all your country, all your whatever, you can do it a couple different ways. So that's a good start. And, it doesn't take much effort. You're going to be pushing the rock a little there, but that's the most useful way to clear psychic energy that I can think of that's useful to people around you that you want cleared, especially people that have some YUEN Method experience. Why wouldn't you want them to help you? So I was trying to get them, they didn't know what to do, but you can imagine if you could get 5 or 6 YUEN people together and do that at the same time. So you're just creating this big kind of field of clearing that's going out in all directions. That's a good way to do it, or think of it anyway. I liked it. Like I said, it took some energy for sure to do it, but I think we're going to need to do that in the coming months. And you're going to have to try to keep your family cleared as well. And so you'll want to have that in your quiver, as a way to clear psychic energy. I think you may want to do it every day or something. I don't know what makes sense, but because it's not only a demonstration, it is what's going on. Because when you clear those people psychically, you will feel symptoms as if you got it. Even if you're in a cave in Colorado somewhere 18 miles underground, you're going to feel that as if you caught it. And that's the rub, is that that really is the thing. It's not like the thing, it is the thing. And that's what YUEN was saying, is that people are picking this stuff up psychically. And it's the same way that if you take a test and the person there has got their energy is like, well, you must have a disease. Well, they can influence that test just by their energy. So it's the same thing. So you don't actually have to, there's nothing floating around in the air that you're catching. You're catching the psychic energy and you're getting the symptom the same way you would sympathetically get a symptom if you're empathic and your friend had a knee problem and suddenly you get a knee problem, right? It has nothing to do with you. It has everything to do with being empathic. It has everything to do with being connected to that person at some energetic level, maybe karmic level, who knows, right? Who's to say? You could ferret that out. And this is why I think this clearing of the psychic energy, the physical's up here somewhere where this stuff's floating around, it's getting in your lungs. If it goes 94%, 96% non-physical, then that's not what it is. It's not the physical. And so you gotta test it. And if you get that number, then I don't care what anyone says about science or anything else. It's not what it is. Just like you would say, it's not what it is. So clear the psychic is the non-physical stuff, right? So, and again, you're going into the spaces, into the feng shui. You're not just clearing them, but you're thinking at the same time, you're clearing all their feng shui at the same time. Because if you come into a space and you leave that energy there and you get cleared, oh man, great. And then you go back into space, you get the same thing. You reinfect yourself with psychic energy, right? So you want to clear that feng shui, and you could just say feng shui. There's the 6 elements that I have that I use, the 3 elements that he uses, and then the visiting and all that, because you can pick it up from visiting places, or even about thinking about places you did visit. It's like it doesn't matter how you pick it up. So I would just say work on the psychic stuff in the next couple of months with this, and that's the best thing we can do to help people get neutral, so they're not always picking it up and always having it. You know what I mean? If you can imagine something constantly pushing on you with psychic energy, 24/7, there's some element of attraction that can happen too, just from the person's normal fears that can attract that even more. And then when is it going to manifest? It's going to be all over the place when you're sleeping and when you're not expecting it and whatever. So we can help as we can. I mean, do what you can when you can, and that's the best thing. And I do that all the time. That's not all the time, but when it comes up, I think it's the best thing we can do. We're going to have to clear it as best we can. I know YUEN does it, talks about it. Some of his podcasts, he's talked about it, but he he doesn't tell people to just get together and do it. He does it, but we all need to do it, I think, and do our best. And people, it's palpable. If you clear that out of a single person, let's say, where they're neutral to that energy, that's a huge thing for them. They're not spreading it to someone else. They're not pushing that energy anywhere else in their life, and that's important. It's good. It's good work. It's important work. It's almost like karmic work in this environment. It's almost like karmic work, in a sense.